My dear, Nigerians are not frustrated.
Nigeria is struggling under the weight of security problems, which it has failed to tackle. The transport sector has been hit hard in recent days. On Monday, an Abuja-Kaduna bound train carrying nearly 1,000 passengers was attacked by terrorists who set off explosives on the track. That attack killed 8 people with several more injured, a yet-to-be-determined number kidnapped. Then on Tuesday, another train was attacked near Gidan train station, also in Kaduna State. All of this led to widespread condemnation on social media, TV, and radio. But there are still some who say Nigerians have not shown enough outrage. Kabri Adamu is a security specialist. Here is his take on Nigeria's security problems.
And one of the things that I'm hoping as a citizen is that the victims and the families of the victims, both those that are injured and the ones that died, would actually sue the railway corporation for damages. Maybe it would serve as deterrence for other organizations who have responsibility for the protection of lives and property, and then in clear cases of negligence, like what we are witnessing at the moment, will not happen again. If we don't test this in a court of law, then a lot of people would go away with this type of negligence that has led to loss of life and injury to many Nigerians.
Okay, but do you think that the lamentations of the Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amici, over the lack of infrastructure, security infrastructure to take care of this railroad, right? Do you think that's coming now, that after 2 attacks within 24 hours, do you think coming now it's a bit of medicine after death?
My dear, if he's serious about it, he should do what other parts of the world do. He should tender his resignation. If he's serious about his lamentation. Some analysts have interpreted that lamentation as an avenue as a blackmailer, actually. There are conspiracy theorists that are actually saying that perhaps the attack is even geared at making sure budgetary allocations are passed like that. So there are different ramifications to that lamentation, but in other climes, when government officials are frustrated, like he seemed to be, what they do is they resign. They don't go on TV and cry like he did. So again, I think it's a case of using the media to achieve an objective that, frankly, as far as some of us are concerned, objectives that in genuineness, if he was really serious about it, he could tender in his resignation, and as a way of showing his frustration.
Okay, no problem. And finally, do you think that with this recent attacks, because Nigerians are agitated, they're not taking this lightly anymore, right? Do you think that with this recent attacks, that the government will do everything that they should do to make sure that they banish banditry and terrorism in Nigeria once and for all?
Precious, you're a journalist. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to ask you questions. If I was allowed to ask you, I would ask you how are Nigerians frustrated. My dear, Nigerians are not frustrated. Yes, if we are frustrated, what happened in NSAS would happen now. I don't know of any other country that about 300 to 400 of its citizens would be targeted in the manner that we're targeted, and then all we're seeing is social media lamentations. And frankly, we're not seeing any tangible action, and yet we're folding our arms and allowing it to go. This is not the first time that train was attacked. It's the second time. Do you, as a journalist, know of any security official that was held to account after that first attack? Right now, do you know of any government official, any security official that will be held account for this second incident? So I'm sorry to say Nigerians are not frustrated, they're not showing their anger enough. In reality, we have come to accept this as part of our everyday life. It happens, nothing is changed, no tangible action is done to ensure a reoccurrence. If you followed the developments, the happenings after the incident, it makes me even more worried than the incident itself. We have an emergency preparedness plan that we have as a country. that emergency preparedness plan, this was an attempt for us to test that plan or policy. Unfortunately, I didn't see that. That plan has several government departments. When we have such an emergency, all those government departments are supposed to come together. The only one that I had responded speedily is the military. In fact, I have had accounts from the victims saying that the military put them on their back and rescued them. Where are the other emergency departments? How come it's the military that has to do those type of responsibilities? So we're not frustrated, believe me. We've become indolent. We've become laid back. We accept these things, and that's how we've continued with our lives. Unfortunately, it's not just insecurity, but there are several other aspects of our livelihoods that indolence has crept in. Impunity is there, and in fact, lack of responsibility in different departments. So we need to change that. We need to hold persons that are being given this responsibility to account, and where there are failures like the type that we saw 2 days ago, those kind of failures need to be punished.
And then the governor of Kaduna State, Governor El-Rufai, he called for the bombing of this terrorist hideouts in the state, and there have been some arguments that a lot of collateral damage will happen. But do you think that bombing their hideouts, the hideouts of these terrorists, do you think that it's going to go a long way to do the work?
So what is more important is to identify them. Once we identify them, we block their funding avenues. We put out who they are to Nigerians. I would expect a picture, a profile of who they are. Let it be publicized so that you, as a journalist, would know that this person is a terrorist. I, as a common Nigerian, as a civilian, will be able to know that this person is a terrorist. And then we attempt to arrest them and prosecute them. And where, for instance, they resist that arrest and even attempt to harm us, then we can now use force, including killing them. But if we don't do those first things, attempting to identify them, attempting to publicize them, arrest them, and then we just go out to bomb them, it will create more problems than what we're trying to solve. And this is documented in anti-terrorism studies all over the world. Using force without the use of the judicial process only leads to more terrorist acts as against using the judicial process. So I'm an advocate of the administration of criminal justice system as against the use of bombardment. Yes, we can take the extreme measure of killing them, but only if they resist arrest and they attempt to harm us in the process of the arrest.